You're walking like a monkey who's been jealous and junkie on a mission to get money for a new suit and tie.
Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitpatch.com, out here for another review, and today talking about these guys right here, which are the Särmä TST Level 4 combat pants and combat shirt from Varusteleka. What do all of those words mean? I don't even know. The Särmä TST, I believe, is in reference to basically military gear equipment over in Finland. The L4, layering system. So outer durable layer, combat uniform, and Varusteleka is the company that makes these. Amazing company out of Finland. They put on Finnish brutality every year, and they make all kinds of stuff as well. So I will go over some of the features of these. Before I do, quick note on combat uniform. One, you either have a need for it or a want for it, i.e. if you're doing combat operations, you probably need this. If you're not and you want it, again, no gatekeepers. So yeah, by all means, go for it. Probably just don't put like unit patches on here that maybe you don't belong to and go try and get like free appetizers at Chili's or something. But go over some of the features. Go ahead and start with this being a combat uniform. They have basically uniform sizes, i.e. you have all your different small, probably extra small, up through extra large, whatever it may be. And then you have regular and short as well as long. So this right here is medium long in reference to basically the waist, and then the length of the legs, which actually prefer that if there's a way to size, which there is on this. And so, well, speak to the sizing in 1 second. This right here, as you can see, the back actually comes up, which is really nice. Helps keep essentially your shirt tucked in, especially during dynamic movement, things along those lines. And to the sizing, you can see there's a little bit of elastic here, and there's a piece, sizing piece that comes in right here, and you have this Velcro tab corresponding with that Velcro there. That allows you to basically pull that, or loosen it rather, and get this to whatever size you need to fit if you are somewhere within that bracket of medium or whatever respective size. I do really appreciate that. As far as the fly, you have a zipper and then a button up top. I do like the way they actually do their buttons too, to where they're captured essentially on that piece of nylon there. All their buttons are like that. Around it, you have a number of different belt loops, which there's a lot. Again, nice, keeping whatever you put on there in place, to include your pants. They're all belted up. And then these little tabs right here up front, where if you want, never use them, but you can basically dummy cord things. Think about like dummy cording something that you're going to put in your pocket, maybe a compass, things you do not want to lose. Over on the, well, on both sides rather, you have cargo pockets. They have a Velcro closure. They also have a button closure depending on what you're looking to do. And they're gusseted, so there's actually room, whatever you put in there, it will actually, you can fit a lot in there, probably more than you want to carry in a cargo pocket. Around the back, there are not back pockets, which honestly I'm totally fine with. If there were, I would like them to just be slash pockets, but like I said, nothing there, totally fine. And then up front, essentially on the front of your thigh, there's these pockets right here. Again, Velcro closure, open that up. They are, I believe, gusseted. So they are, not that you're gonna put like a ton of stuff inside them, but you obviously can if you want. And then coming down, we end up getting to the knee pad, or knee area rather, which we'll go over fabric in a minute, but this right here is actually 500D Cordura, which, as you can tell, a little bit of a difference between the two fabrics. Much more durable. It's also gusseted. And then down in the bottom, Velcro opens up, so you can actually put knee pads in there, which is really nice. Something else that is nice is on the back here, you can see these Velcro tabs. You can basically size this into your leg. And that's actually really nice when you have the knee pads in there, but just in general, there's more fabric than you need down there. And being able to basically size it to yourself is really nice. And then finally down here, kind of on the outside of the leg, another pocket, basically similar in the same size as the one up on your thigh, but down on your calf. I actually never used these. They can be useful, I just honestly never use them. And then finally down at the cuff, you also again have this 500D Cordura, being really durable, and the ability to size that cuff, which is again really nice, especially think depending on the time of year, ticks, things like that. You can basically seal it up around your boots and just also keep weeds, whatever, brush from coming up into your boots, socks, things like that too. Next up is the combat shirt, and I guess we'll start at the top. So as you can see right here, there's a stock collar, basically comes up. If you don't appreciate a collar like that, one, you probably haven't worn body armor and ran a sling a lot. So what this does, one, I guess technically it might help keep brass out too, if you're shooting with a bunch of people, but ultimately it essentially protects the sides of your neck from, again, either your body armor like a plate carrier or even a chest harness, anything like that, and also a sling. Having a sling, well, ideally it's not super uncomfortable, especially if you're doing a lot of movement and that sling is sliding back and forth. Being able to have something between it and your neck is really nice. And also, well, this is not the softest material. It is in fact lined or put over the top of the rest of this material, which is a very breathable mesh, especially nice if you're wearing body armor, because you will get warm. Spoiler, body armor does not breathe. And right here is a zipper enclosure for that front. I'm torn on this. I don't know that there's necessarily a better way. The reason I say that is because as soon as it gets warm, start exerting yourself, you will want to unzip this. Lets it breathe some, but this underneath a plate carrier does not feel good. Again, I don't know that there's a better way. I don't know that you could do a good job with Velcro or something like that, but it is zippered. And as I mentioned, this material goes all the way down. The shirt is made longer than, we'll say, a t-shirt, because again, it's going to get tucked into those combat pants, and yeah, does a good job staying put. As far as the sleeves, we have this outer material, this one being MO5, and under the arms right there, we have, again, back to this really breathable mesh material, which is nice, again, letting your body vent. And then on both sleeves, we have these pockets, which are basically gusseted on that side right there. And you also have the Velcro, inside. If you need to lash things, again, think compass, whatever it may be, you can do that there. And then we have a Velcro field on the outer side for rank, badge, insignia, whatever it may be. And similar to the knees, we again have another pocket made of 500D Cordura, really, really durable, and a Velcro closure on the bottom for knee, or in this case, elbow pads. Finally, down here at the cuff, we again have a Velcro adjustment, so you can adjust that. Cinch it up nice and tight, keep things from coming in, or for that matter, open it up, and then you can just roll this thing back if maybe you're in warmer weather. And that is the combat shirt. Before I jump into how I've used that stuff and how it's done for me, quick note on knee pads or elbow pads. These, I will say, are probably the best I've used. And if you think knee and elbow pads, they pretty much come in two flavors, either something soft or something with a hard shell. Think like Arc'teryx kneecaps. These are not a hard shell, but they're, as you can hopefully see, basically this foam material, which pretty compressible. And I don't know if it comes through. It's actually been really compressed right there where my knee has made contact with it. I will say these are probably the best insertable knee pads I've ever used. They would probably be elbow pads, but honestly, I've never put them on. These can, in fact, be used for both though, which is really nice because this material is really easy to cut. So these being made for the knee pads, again, you have that kind of, the way it's already cut actually articulates kind of forms rather around your knee, which is really nice. And if you are going to use them for your elbow pads, you can very easily with scissors trim them down to the appropriate size to get them into that pocket for elbow pads. These are really nice. I actually wish I had them on Finish Brutality 2025. I was wearing different pants without knee pads, and there's a stage where you're basically on your hands and knees, like low crawling through what was essentially just all ice, which not super comfortable. But these will absolutely save your knees, and they're super lightweight. And I think in part because of kind of that texture that they have, they're not overly hot. I mention that because I've definitely used some that are almost like a formed solid piece of like foam material, and they get ridiculously hot in over your knees. These I haven't really experienced that with. Which brings me to how I use these, how have they done for me? Well, I've used these a lot at Finish Brutality. First time, same set, first time initially at Finish Brutality 2023, and then that following year at 2024. They've done great. They've held up really well. One thing I will say with respect to material, well, I guess I'll speak to that real quick. The material of these, one is NRI, near IR, I don't know, basically NRI compliant, so it doesn't glow under night vision, which is awesome. And all of them, I say all of them because they're different blends depending on the pattern, this being the MO5 Finnish military pattern. They're all different blends, they're all pretty similar in that they're about 50% cotton and the other 50% roughly polyamide, probably mispronouncing that. And then there's a tiny bit of essentially some sort of elastic put in there too, so that there's ever so little give, which again is nice, especially during dynamic movements. But all that to say, definitely dries well, and this combat shirt does a great job venting, especially when you start getting hot with a plate carrier on over it. And no, I've been really pleased. Pocket layout for me does a good job. I do actually like also that on these, as they should, but some aren't, the pockets are actually really deep, those front slash pockets, and I really like slash pockets like up front, mainly because I'm carrying usually a knife, as well as flashlight, things like that, things I want easy access to. And there are plenty of secured pockets. If you're like, hey, I cannot afford to lose this, you can do that. Or, as I mentioned earlier, there's lash points too if you need to just secure something with dummy cord too. But these have done a great job. Just one, especially with those knee pads protecting me, and yeah, doing what they're made to do. Basically that durable outer layer that will withstand all the abuses you'll have kind of centered around like combat use, moving, shooting, all of that stuff, uneven terrain, whatever it may be. And I've been really pleased just across the board with this stuff. As I mentioned before, different colors, patterns, from basically just like a field green to obviously this, which is the MO5 military pattern for Finland. And they also have multicam, and they might have something else in there. Price-wise, you're looking at from around 130 to 160, I think, for the combat shirt. Combat pants, anywhere from like 230 to 330. Man, that's expensive. Why is there a big price range? Well, we'll talk to expense real quick. Good segue to Varusteleka and Mega. So they're big on their Mega, make Europe great again. And with that, they've pretty much, I think at this point, completely cut off any reliance on overseas manufacturing. By overseas, I mean China. I think some of their materials, especially for some of their like technical layers, like their waterproof stuff, still probably comes from China, but now at this point, everything is made, sewn in the EU. I believe this stuff's actually made in Poland. So with that, yeah, it's gonna cost more than some knockoff made in China in like slave labor, because they pay people fairly over in the EU. And it is what it is. As far as the price difference in some of the patterns, I think multicam being the most expensive, there's essentially, I don't remember if it's royalty or what it falls under, but you essentially pay a premium for multicam because you're using real multicam, not like a knockoff similar pattern. And then on top of that, you have the IR compliance as far as the materials and everything like that. Again, made for combat use specifically, well, this specifically like Finnish combat forces and stuff like that. So really well made with that IR compatible, or however you word that, not glowing under night vision materials, and yeah, as a consequence, you end up paying for it. If you have a need for a combat uniform or you just want one, maybe you go out to a lot of activities that would benefit from really well-made combat uniform, like some shooting sports, I would encourage you to check it out. There'll be links down below. You can go check it out over at Varusteleka. And also down below is a discount code, good for, I believe, 20% off pretty much anything over there, not just this. Caveat being, I think it's only through the end of April of 2025. So if you're watching this in 2 years, I apologize. But if you want to go check this out or any of the other cool stuff they have down there, there'll be links, you can check it out. And yeah, this stuff has done an awesome job for me, and I'm sure will continue to do so into the future. Really well made, rugged, and durable. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.